Look around you. Look at the room you are sitting in right now. The temperature is perfectly controlled. If you are hungry, you tap a piece of glass, and a stranger brings hot food directly to your door. If you are bored, you have the entire history of human entertainment available in your pocket. You sleep on a mattress engineered for perfect spinal alignment. You wake up to a gentle, customized alarm. You step into a hot shower. You sit in a padded chair for 8 hours a day. You return to your soft bed. You are living a life that the emperors of ancient Rome, the kings of the medieval world, could not even dream of. You have achieved the ultimate goal of human civilization: absolute, uninterrupted comfort. So let me ask you a question. Why are you so miserable? Why do you wake up with a knot of anxiety in your chest? Why do you feel a constant, low-level hum of depression and emptiness? Why do you feel so utterly exhausted when you haven't done any actual physical labor? Why do you feel so fundamentally weak? You have been sold a lie. Since you were a child, society has whispered the same promise into your ear. It told you that the ultimate goal of existence is to eliminate struggle. It told you that success is measured by how much you can avoid pain, avoid cold, avoid hunger, and avoid effort. We have built an entire world dedicated to removing friction from your life. But we forgot a fundamental law of biology. We forgot what happens to a living organism when all resistance is removed. Look at a wild animal placed in a zoo. It is completely safe. It is fed on a predictable schedule. It has no predators. It doesn't have to hunt. It doesn't have to fight for its territory. And what happens to it? It becomes depressed. It paces the cage endlessly. Its muscles atrophy. Its spirit breaks. It survives, but it ceases to be what it was born to be. You are that animal. The modern world is your zoo, and the comfort you are so desperately clinging to is the cage. Comfort is not a reward. It is a slow-acting poison. It is a silent assassin that is executing your potential day by day, minute by minute. We understand perfectly well how physical muscles work. If you put your arm in a cast for 6 months, taking away all its load, all its stress, what happens when you finally remove the cast? The arm is withered. It is useless. It cannot even lift a glass of water. Your mind works in the exact same way. Your resilience, your willpower, your courage, your masculinity. These are not static traits you are simply born with. They are muscles, and they require resistance to grow. They require friction. They require gravity. When you live a life completely devoid of physical and mental friction, your spiritual muscles atrophy. When the most difficult part of your day is choosing what series to binge watch on a screen, your capacity to handle real adversity vanishes completely. This is why a minor inconvenience now feels like a massive catastrophe. This is why a slightly critical email from your boss ruins your entire week. This is why the mere thought of taking a risk, starting a business, or speaking your honest truth paralyzes you with fear. You have been anesthetized by convenience. You have traded your natural strength for artificial safety, and in doing so, you have made yourself incredibly, tragically fragile. You think you are free because you can order whatever you want, whenever you want, but you are not free. You are a slave to your own comforts. You are a slave to the hot shower. You are a slave to the sugar. You are a slave to the cheap dopamine of social media. Take those things away for just 24 hours and watch how quickly you crumble. Watch how quickly the anxiety sets in. Watch how your hands shake and your mood swings. A man who cannot endure discomfort is a man who is owned by the world. The ancients knew this. 2,000 years ago, the Stoics looked at the rising luxury of the Roman Empire and recognized the mortal danger it posed to the human soul. Seneca, one of the wealthiest and most powerful men in the empire, did not celebrate his soft bed and endless banquets. He saw them as a threat to his character. He wrote, Nothing, to my way of thinking, is a more unhappy man than he who has never experienced adversity, for he has never had an opportunity to test himself. Think about the profound truth hidden in those words. If you never face the storm, you never discover the true strength of your own foundation. If you never face the freezing cold, you never learn how to build a fire from scratch. Adversity is not an accident of the universe. It is the curriculum of greatness. And by insulating yourself from every possible discomfort, you are skipping the very classes that teach you how to be a man. You are skipping the struggles that forge character and forge iron. You are becoming a ghost, a soft, anxious ghost haunting a highly comfortable machine. But there is a way out. There is a cure for this modern sickness. It is a cure that will shock your system. It will hurt. It will require you to go against everything modern society has taught you to value. You must learn to seek out the cold. You must learn to hunt the friction. Welcome to the philosophy of the hard path. Welcome to core wisdom. How do you fight an enemy that looks like a friend? How do you rebel against a system that gives you exactly what you want? The answer lies in an ancient practice, a practice that the modern mind finds completely insane. Voluntary discomfort. The Stoics did not just tolerate hardship when it arrived, they actively chased it. They hunted it down. They artificially injected suffering into their lives during times of peace. Listen to Seneca, one of the richest men in Rome. He had palaces, servants, and endless wealth. Yet, every month, he would take a few days to live like the poorest beggar in the city. He would wear coarse, scratching clothes. He would eat stale bread. He would sleep on the hard, cold floor. He did this intentionally. He did this while looking at his soft bed across the room. Why would a billionaire choose to sleep on the floor? He answered it himself. He said, "Set aside a certain number of days, during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself the while, 'Is this the condition that I feared? Is this the condition that I feared?'" That is the secret. We spend our entire lives terrified of losing our comforts. We are paralyzed by the fear of poverty, the fear of hunger, the fear of judgment, the fear of looking foolish. That fear makes us slaves to our employers, to our social circles, to our algorithms. But when you voluntarily step into the cold, when you willingly go hungry for a day, when you sleep on the floor, you look around and you realize something profound. You realize that you are still alive. You realize that the worst-case scenario is not a death sentence. It is just a minor inconvenience. And suddenly, the fear evaporates. When you no longer fear losing your comfort, the world loses its power over you. You become untamable. In the modern world, this practice is not a philosophical luxury. It is a biological necessity. Your body and your mind were forged over millions of years of brutal evolution. They were designed to adapt to stress. They were designed to heal stronger after a fracture. This is the concept of anti-fragility. A machine breaks when you put it under too much stress, but a human being breaks when you do not put it under enough stress. Without a heavy load to carry, your bones lose density. Without a problem to solve, your brain creates imaginary ones. Anxiety is often just undirected, unspent survival energy. It is the engine of a sports car revving in neutral. To fix the engine, you must put the car in gear. You must give it resistance. You must manufacture your own adversity. Take the cold shower, not because it has magical health benefits, but because every fiber of your being is screaming at you to turn on the hot water. When you step into the freezing water anyway, you are committing a micro-rebellion against your own weakness. You are teaching your brain a new hierarchy. You are telling your body, "I am the master, and you will do as you are told. Skip a meal. Fast for 24 hours. Feel the sharp pang of hunger in your stomach. Sit with it. Do not run to the pantry. Understand that you will not die from feeling empty. Let the hunger sharpen your focus. Lift the heavy weight. Run the extra mile. Push your physical vessel to the absolute limit of its capacity until your lungs burn and your muscles fail. Do it so that when life inevitably throws a real tragedy at you, you do not shatter like glass. You absorb the blow like iron, because you have already been in the fire. You put yourself there. This is how you build the inner citadel. You build it brick by brick, using the mortar of voluntary suffering. Every time you choose the hard path over the easy path, you lay another brick. Every time you embrace the cold instead of the warmth, the walls get thicker. Eventually, you construct a fortress inside your mind that nothing external can breach. A man who has mastered his own suffering cannot be threatened by the suffering of the world. If you can sleep on the floor and be content, what can a recession do to you? If you can fast and maintain your peace, what can a tyrant do to you? If you can endure the brutal training of your own mind, what can the opinions of strangers do to you? Nothing. They bounce off the walls of your citadel. But there is another layer to this, a deeper chemical layer. When you indulge in endless comfort, you flood your brain with cheap dopamine. You spike your pleasure receptors without doing any of the work to earn it. Over time, your baseline drops. You need more comfort, more entertainment, more food, just to feel normal. You become numb. The colors of life fade. Voluntary discomfort resets the baseline. When you step out of a freezing shower, the room temperature air feels like a warm blanket. When you fast for a day, a simple bowl of plain rice tastes like a feast prepared by kings. By temporarily depriving yourself of pleasure, you restore your capacity to actually feel it. You cure the numbness. You bring the color back to the world. You stop taking your existence for granted. You realize that modern men are drowning in a sea of luxury, desperately searching for meaning. But meaning is not found on the couch. Meaning is found on the mountain. It is found under the heavy bar. It is found in the biting wind. You can choose to be uncomfortable today, or the world will force it upon you tomorrow. There is a fundamental truth about human existence that no amount of technology can erase. Tragedy is coming. The storm is already forming on the horizon. You will face loss. You will face heartbreak. You will face illness, betrayal, and death. These are not possibilities. They are guarantees. The modern world tries to hide this from you. It sells you insurance, pills, and endless entertainment to keep your eyes off the horizon. But when the storm finally hits your house, the comfortable man is completely destroyed. He looks up at the sky and screams, "Why is this happening to me?" He is shattered because he spent his entire life building a house out of straw, believing the wind would never blow. The Stoic does not ask why the wind blows. He builds a house out of stone. Because he has spent years practicing voluntary discomfort, he recognizes the face of pain. When real tragedy strikes, it is not a stranger. It is an old sparring partner. He has felt hunger. He has felt cold. He has felt exhaustion. So when life strips away his wealth, his status, or his comfort, he does not collapse. He simply falls back on his training. He says, "I have been here before. I know how to survive in the dark." This is the ultimate superpower of the modern age. While everyone else is running frantically toward the nearest source of pleasure, you are walking steadily into the wind. You are becoming anti-fragile. When you embrace the friction of life, a profound psychological shift occurs. You stop being a victim of your circumstances. You realize that every obstacle is just another weight added to the bar. It is another opportunity to grow stronger. Marcus Aurelius wrote, The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. The comfort you are clinging to is the impediment. The difficult conversation you are avoiding. The physical exertion you are putting off. The quiet room you are terrified to sit in. That is the way. You must look at your life right now and identify the soft spots. Where are you taking the path of least resistance? Where are you allowing convenience to dictate your choices? Every time you order the food instead of cooking it, every time you scroll instead of reading, every time you hit the snooze button instead of putting your feet on the cold floor. You are casting a vote for weakness. You are telling your subconscious mind that you are unable to handle reality. It is time to stop casting those votes. It is time to start casting votes for your own strength. Tomorrow morning, when the alarm rings, do not negotiate with the weakness in your head. Put your feet on the cold floor. Turn the water to freezing. Do not think about it. Do not weigh the pros and cons. Just execute. This is not about self-punishment. This is about liberation. You are breaking the invisible chains that society has wrapped around your mind. When you actively seek out the hard things, the easy things stop controlling you. Look at the men around you. Look at the vacant eyes, the slumped shoulders, the endless complaints about minor inconveniences. They are sedated. They are waiting for a savior that is never coming. They are waiting for life to get easier. It will not. Life will only get harder. And that is exactly why you must get tougher. The Stoic does not pray for a lighter load. He prays for broader shoulders. Comfort is the waiting room for death. Discomfort is the arena of life. When your heart is pounding, when your lungs are burning, when your mind is screaming at you to quit and you refuse to listen, that is when you meet your true self. That is when the artificial layers of modern civilization burn away and you are left with the raw, unbreakable core of who you actually are. You discover a reserve of power that you never knew existed. You discover that you are infinitely more capable than the algorithm told you you were. You have a choice to make right now at the exact moment this video ends. You can close this app, sink back into the couch, order another meal, and return to the zoo. You can go back to being a ghost. Or you can stand up. You can find the heaviest thing in your life right now, and you can lift it. You can find the conversation you are most afraid of having, and you can start it. You can find the hardest path in front of you, and you can take the first step. You can reclaim your nature. You were not built to be comfortable. You were not built to be numb. You were built to conquer. You were built to endure. You were built to thrive in the storm. The cage door is open. It has always been open. The only thing keeping you inside is your own addiction to the warmth. Step out into the cold. The air is sharp. The wind is biting. But for the first time in a very long time, you will actually be breathing. You will actually be alive. Do not wait for tomorrow. Do not wait for Monday. The rebellion against comfort begins today. It begins right now. This is core wisdom. If you are ready to leave the cage, subscribe. Now turn off the screen and go find some friction.